guys. Welcome and come closer. Come closer to the front so we can see you and hear you. This is a chance for us to decompress, really, after that concert. And get to know Joyce a little bit more. Thank you, Joyce, for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you back in Fresno. I feel like, wait, do you live here? Because we see you quite a lot here.
Yes, it's great that I was able to come for the recital, and which was at Fresno State just about a month or so ago, to be back so soon, but a totally different part of the brain. It's a very different piece, and so very different sides of me.
Absolutely, and I just have to say, you are one of the most versatile pianists I know. Yes, seriously. Because the first work that we did together here with the Fresno Philharmonic was a Mozart piano concerto. So going from Mozart to Barber, I mean, that's a big stretch.
Very little in common in preparation and mentality.
Yes.
And it's just almost like a completely different, it's pianists. Yes, I'm a pianist, but yeah, they require completely different skills.
It's like being a double pianist or something. Yes, so I want to talk about that, so don't let me forget. But the second time we worked together, I think it was the Liszt Piano Concerto, the first Liszt D-flat major. And then we recently did Tchaikovsky in Kansas City. We were both in Kansas City with the orchestra there. Actually, it was just March. It was just, so much has happened. And now you're back here. So let's talk about, your season, first of all. I know that how many concerts a year do you try to work and play?
I do about 75 to 80 is a good number for me. It's the maximum number that still makes me feel like I am pushing myself to the limits, but not going past my maximum. I think I've also done something like 95 concerts a year, and then that gets very uncomfortable. But right at 80, I feel like it's challenging, but it's still, I feel still sane, so keep it that way.
And that's including concertos and solo rep.
Yes, that's many different things. And chamber music also,
right.
Yes.
So how do you keep all of that repertoire? Do you have like a schedule on your calendar? Like, I learned the Barber concerto this week, I learned the Prokofiev, concerto next week, and the Liszt sonata the following week. What's your spreadsheet look like?
It's very optimistic, and it's getting less and less optimistic as I get older, because now I probably love music more, and I want to get the piece ready better before I play it for the first time. So I give myself a lot more time than, let's say, 10 years ago. But I've run into problems so many times because I thought this would sound really good by a certain point, and then it just needs another 2 months or 3 months or even 2 years to ferment or slow cook further in my system. It just, sometimes you feel like a piece would be perfect for you, so you say, yes, I will learn it, and it'll probably take me a year and a half to learn it, so you plan a concert around that repertoire a year and a half, 2 years down the line, and then when that time comes, sometimes it's not ready. So now I've learned through all the trial and error what I am capable of learning. So learning something new, of course, is the hardest thing. Bringing out a piece that I've performed a number of times is, each one has a different number of hours in my mind to resurrect it from its sleepy state to concert ready. For example, Barber, since I've only done it a small handful of times, is the number of hours on Barber is it's probably triple what I would say for a Rachmaninoff concerto, which I've played so many more times that it's even though it's also hard, it comes back easier.
And when did you first play the Barber piano concerto?
I played it all almost 10 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, and I've learned it, performed it, and I wanted to keep the momentum going. I've offered it to pretty much every presenter, and no one wanted it. So it just sort of died. And I had to relearn it. If you just play it once, and then don't look at it, don't think about it, 5 years later, it's like, what? I don't remember this at all. It doesn't, unless it's a childhood thing. Yeah, I think what I learned at 12, I could remember at 17, but it's not, now it's, I feel like it dissipates if I don't give love to it constantly. So I relearned it about a year ago, and this season, I got to play it twice. I played it with the Jacksonville Symphony, and then this is the second day. So, and then I don't know when I'm going to play it again. So,
wow. Well, I hope you get to play it again.
Yeah, it's a great piece. Very unusual.
Very unusual. And so, besides the hours of practice on the barber, there must be some muscular, technical. Like, does your back go out when you're practicing this piece? I mean, you know, it's such a muscular piece. Do your hands swell up? I mean, you know?
They feel a bit fat. Yeah, definitely. It's right now I'm still high on adrenaline, so I feel like I can do it all over again. Twice as fast! But soon, in this evening, I think I will feel very exhausted. Like after last night's performance, it really hit me in the middle of the night. It was there's certain little aches and stuff, but I think it's normal. It's just not the actual playing the piece, but it's the shock. I think I warm up for a really long time for this piece, like at least hour and a half, so I don't injure anything. But once you come out, that even just the first flurry is so shocking to the system, and then your body doesn't know that it should protect itself. We were just gonna go 100%, dive right in there. So I think it's the body's like catching up to the shock. It takes a few days, but I don't really do anything to be stronger pianistically. I try to do things to exercise the lower half of the body, so my legs get somewhat of a workout similar to what my arms need to endure. It's so they even out, not to get my arms even stronger. So it's kind of and if I do arm movements, it's whatever movement that is pianistic movements.
Okay.
I'm always pushing, and I'm ridiculously strong pushing, but I can't pull anything. So all of my exercise is like whatever I'm not doing on the piano.
Interesting. Okay. And so you were saying for a barber you would warm up for an hour and a half. So for a Mozart piano concerto, how much time would you warm up before the concert?
Maybe about half hour. Half hour is okay.
Yeah.
Mozart is more about mental stability. That's it's more like a meditation, getting ready for a Mozart concert. It needs to not be affected. No caffeine for like 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
Absolutely not for Mozart. It's just like you can't be anxious at all. It has to be completely zen in every way, and let the pearls just roll off your. It has to be just the most, in a way, effortless, most natural movement that cannot be the adrenaline of the stage cannot be in the way. I think so. In a way, something like this is more natural because it adds to the adrenaline. The adrenaline works for this piece. It's like that is really hard to do when there's no audience, but once you're out and it's so much excitement, and then you just reach for the stars. It's a very natural movement, whereas with Mozart, you have to kind of tame yourself in a certain way. Of course, it has to be free and playful and all that, but you can't make sounds like I did in the beginning of the barber.
Right. And okay, so going back to your 80 concerts, or 70 plus concerts, you travel all over the world. So this season, where have you besides Fresno, where have you most enjoyed your travels?
My month of May was very interesting. went to Australia to do a 4-city tour. Started out in Melbourne, then Brisbane, Canberra, Sydney, and that was really nice.
Is that your first time there?
No, I've been there many times. Somehow I've been there, I think, maybe almost 10 times. I seem to pretty much go every year or to New Zealand, and I think it started to happen because I played a piece by an Australian composer, Carl Vine, and then I went there for the first time and then sort of made more friends. But that was very memorable. My parents joined me for the entire tour, and that was their first time there. So we worked together for over 2 weeks, just going from city to city, 24/7, same condos and everything. So it was like our real quality time together. I don't think we've been spending more than 3 days together, so this was truly magnificent.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I got to play both recital and concerto, which was tough.
And which concerto was
it? Was Grieg. It was Grieg piano concerto, plus 4 recitals.
And these 4 recitals all solo, or were they chambers?
All solo.
Okay. Can you just, I'm such a piano geek. Can you tell me what your program was?
It was an all-Russian program, and it was 6 movements from Tchaikovsky's Seasons, 3 Rachmaninoff preludes, Stravinsky, Firebird, Suite, Stravinsky,
the piano version of the orchestral work, the
yes,
Firebird.
That was first half.
What?
And then I played Pictures at an Exhibition by Mussorgsky in the second half. It was a full 2-hour affair. Yeah, it was very beefy 4 concerts. And sprinkles of encore. So it lasted a long time, and the Russians really, make you
work.
Yeah, like it's deep massage for the piano, so a lot of deep tissue massage going in.
And you must have been working on the Barber at the same time.
Working on the Barber, yes, I was. There are certain spots I remember that I can never play to my liking. So it was in the back of my mind, and you played a little bit here and there, but it was almost. Yeah, it was difficult to do more, mainly because of the jet lag. When I was there, the jet lag is so horrible because the 7:30 p.m. concert there was my time, 4:30 a.m. So no, it doesn't matter if you're there for like 48 hours to get used to the time zone, or you just feel kind of foggy going into the concert. First few, it's very, very difficult.
Wait, so what is your remedy for that? Like you just drink lots of coffee right before, or what do you do?
You try to stay awake for as long as possible. You always land at 4 a.m. when you fly from the States.
Okay.
So that first day, no sleeping until at least 9 p.m. So it's really, you get there at 4 a.m. and then you want to go to bed around noon. So at noon, you have to make appointments every 2 hours. So there's no way you can fall asleep. So pack your first day with interesting things that are non-refundable, and then you'll stay awake.
That's great. Well, I want to open it up to the audience. Any questions? Yes.
I assume you're watching. And then afterwards, I thought, which is moved up the piano so much that I've never seen so many notes come out of something. I'm in awe to see you watching it.
She's in awe of all the notes that came out of the piano in that performance.
It is. There are things Barbara wrote that are quite impossible. That's so you have to almost kind of give up playing it perfectly, because if you do that, then you will probably end up with 10% of it. Just trying to get everything, so you need to sort of prioritize. It's like if you have 100 things to do in 2 days. That's impossible. You are not going to do, and then you're going to get overwhelmed and do nothing. That's sort of what happens when you try to make a piece like that perfect. So you have to sort of ask, what is he going for? Like, what is the heart of this crazy thing that's written? So you start to kind of bring out the most important things first, and then the next tier, and then the next tier, and the next tier. So when the perfection fails, you still get the most important 80% or so to shine. And the least important 20% falls on the floor. Not like try to get all 100, and then all the important things just go out the window, and you're like, that didn't work. So it's a different way of working, this versus something like a Beethoven piano concerto, because it's Beethoven, you want to get every single note just right. And so this is a different mentality. A lot of it is affect. It's like how can I shape it so I can feel abandoned, fearless. In 1 year, how much repertoire is going through the entire year? So it is, at this point, about 10 different piano concerti and 1.5 recital program. So mid-year, 1/2 changes, first half or second half. I should really have 2 programs, but I get very, very stressed if it changes in the mid-year. So I try to change it kind of gradually, 1 piece at a time, and still trying to make it a coherent program. So that is actually a lot of work, just trying to get the recital programs to constantly evolve. So 10 concerto, 30 minutes, concerto, 300 minutes, so it's 5 hours, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8.5, 9 hours of music, different music. And I wish they were a little bit more organized, but it's just kind of all over the place. The 10 concerto just kind of show up when they want to show up, and I rarely play the same piece 2 weekends in a row. It's always different. But I kind of, things that happened like in March, let's say, I remember that like it's yesterday. Yeah, I have sense of time is very, very off. And like certain pieces just, I've resurrected it so many times that it's sort of with me permanently. So of the 10 piano concerto, I would say 5. It's like I probably need just maybe 3 days to get it ready.
Amazing. Yes, go ahead.
The composer that I enjoy playing, I think most naturally, I play the Russian repertoire very, not easily, but it comes naturally to me. I feel like I'm being myself, quote unquote. I feel like I understand where the composers are coming from, and I'm able to be their messenger. Whereas sometimes, like with something like Schubert, I'm not quite sure if I am the right messenger for that music. So I question a lot. Perhaps I am, but there's a lot of questioning going on. Whereas with Russian music, I'm like, oh, obviously I have to play it like this. Oh, I know what they're thinking. So there's a little bit of, yes, a struggle with some composers like Chopin. I don't play a lot of Chopin. I love Chopin, absolutely, but I feel like there's something that's, I'm not able to articulate his poetic language as well as something like Robert Schumann's music. I see his music and I know exactly what I should be doing, and I'm so sure of myself in a way before the concert. Like, let me tell you what this piece is about. Whereas with Chopin, I'm like, oh, I'll do my best, but I'm not quite sure if this is what he meant. So,
And then the other part of the question was, where is your favorite place to perform?
favorite place to perform? This was great being here. You know, I don't really react to the city so well. It's like once I'm in a concert hall, it's really about the audience in front of me, and I have no idea where I am once the concert begins. And it's really like connecting with night after night. But I think there are some cities that I like returning to. I think those are the cities that stand out, that keep having me back. So I feel like I don't need to come in and prove something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, you've all seen me play, heard me play, so here's just another layer.
Where are some of those places?
I think I played the most with the Milwaukee Symphony. They hired me every year for like 12 seasons. Something like that. Something crazy numbers, and let's do all the Rachmaninoffs and the Tchaikovsky and the Bernstein, and you know, every year it was like, so just playing with them every year, I know pretty much every single member, and I feel like the same audience comes, so it's just sort of like, oh, see you next year, you know, it's kind of a family kind of feeling. So there are places like that, and yeah, and actually back in Australia, there's a beautiful hall in Melbourne, and I feel like I've been there pretty much every year, so that's a really gorgeous acoustics. I guess I identify a city with the hall's acoustics. So, and when I think of a city, I can think of the hall. So
Right.
it really is, I'm biased in which cities I like, but it's...
One more question.
How old were you when you began playing piano? A little bit about your training.
I was 4 years old when I started to play with my aunt. She was my first piano teacher, and she made it really fun. So that was a great gift. That's just changed my life. And didn't even know I was learning to play the piano. It was just something fun we did around this thing called the piano. And then I loved the piano before realizing it makes music. Music came later. Piano was always like, you know, I learn a piece, I play for people, they all, you know, like, oh, good job, and all the wonderful, happy occasion happened around the piano. So it was always something very, very nice to be around, and didn't really need me to, I was not pressured into practicing, because she somehow, it was reverse psychology. It was something I always wanted to be around, because it was not available to me all the time. She was like, no, you've been bad, you've not eaten your vegetables, so no piano for you. So I was like, so I had to like make sure when no one's looking, I get to play the piano. It's like, hey, you know, so it was always something like very special, and I got obsessed with it quite early. And it's not like I chose to be a pianist, but it just sort of became a part of my everyday thing. And when I didn't play, it was like I didn't eat lunch. It's like, no, I have to play. It became something I could not be without. And
tell them that you went to Juilliard at the age of...
When I turned 9, my mom's friend of a friend was visiting South Korea from New York, and I played for her at some luncheon, and she said, oh, you should come to New York and play for a Juilliard faculty, and I can arrange this for you. So then at age 9, my mom, my aunt, and I went to New York to the Juilliard School, and for whatever reason, Yocheved Kaplinsky, who's now the piano chair of the piano department, had time for me. So I played for her, and she told my mom, I need her here now. So apparently I played with great personality, but no technique. And she said, I needed to help you to see what could come out when you can actually do everything you want to do. And so 2 years later, my mom arranged an occasion for her to do a sabbatical year at the SUNY Stony Brook University doing cancer research. So she brought me for a year, and then I enrolled in the Juilliard pre-college program, which is a Saturday school where you take lessons, do ear training, sing, all the stuff, which was my favorite thing in the whole world. And after that year, we were supposed to go back to Korea, but I met my first manager at the couple days after I turned 13. I was playing with the Juilliard Orchestra, representing the pre-college division at the big gala, and big managers in the industry showed up at the dress rehearsal, and they said, "We'd like to work with you. How about it?" And she said, I don't know what you do, or I didn't know anything about really what happens once you get a manager and what kind of tours I was supposed to do. So slowly, my parents are not musicians, so this was new to them too, and we just went in without knowing anything. And I signed with then ICM, now they're called Opus 3, but ICM gave me probably about a dozen concerts a year. I did all the pretty important kids concerts, and yeah, it was a tremendous opportunity. So yeah, I started to tour.
But I want to go back to your teacher. I mean, I remember you saying that she still was like such a mentor towards you, right?
Yes. So I studied with the same teacher from age 11 till about 26. So she's my only teacher, and she's sort of like all of the above, you know, friend, teacher, mentor, mom, you know, all very family status, and she's really seen me through every stage of my teenage years and early 20s and all of that. And yeah, I still play for her sometimes, and what's truly, I shouldn't be amazed, but I am amazed because every time I play for her, I discover something about music making that it never occurred to me before. Wow. It's still like, so she always teaches me something that I hadn't known. I'm like, I really should know that by now. Why don't I know these things? But she's just incredible, and so
how wonderful that you're still learning too.
Yeah, now I think she gives me more artistic freedom, but I think it started to actually happen for the first time at age 16. I remember that day very clearly because I was very serious going into that lesson because I worked so hard. And she said, I disagree with many things that you did, but because I can really hear that you put your thought and you worked for every single sound that you made, this is now your own, and I'm not going to touch it. This is now, yeah, so if I take one thing away, your whole house will collapse, you know, kind of thing. You've added up everything, and this is now your new creation. And so that was a revelation to me, and I was so shocked. And at this point, I think our lessons are very much like, I would actually go out and play 8 recitals before I play that piece for my teacher.
Wow.
Because I want to be good.
Really ready.
Yeah. I don't want to make like silly mistake or not think about something and go to her and her question me and be like, I don't know. I'd be like, yes, that's because, you know, I want to be really ready. So she only hears me when I'm, or if I'm really insecure. Those are two. Sometimes I'm like, I think I'm getting worse and worse, and I need someone to just put me back into one piece and get me out there again. So sometimes, absolutely, she gives me confidence and guidance. But yeah, and I usually try to go to her with the full set of
ideas.
Yeah, and then she tells me when things are not convincing, and that is so valuable to me. Like, this works, this doesn't work. I don't know what you're doing there. And you know, and then she's like, I would play it like this, and she plays it for me, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that because, you know, we go back and forth, but it is so, I always come out, like everything I knew is destroyed, and I need to build completely a new thing, but when I do build it, then it's that much richer. So it's like, whenever she's so busier than me, so I try to find her whenever I can.
Wow, well, thank you for sharing that. So we're going to close with just one question. So if you were to have a dinner party, I always ask our guests this. dinner party, and you could invite 3 guests from any time period.
Oh no.
Any time period, any, musical, non-musical. Who would they be and what would you serve? Because you're a really good, she's a foodie, by the way. She's a foodie.
3 people? Oh gosh, you should have warned me.
I know.
So it's like sort of.
Just the first thing that comes to mind.
Well, I don't think there'll be musicians.
Okay, that's fine.
I had enough of musicians.
Yeah, no, that's
maybe
fine.
if it was okay, let's pick one composer.
No, you don't have to. You don't.
I know.
Okay.
I would love to meet Robert Schumann. If I had to pick one composer. Yeah. He's probably going to be crazy. Yeah.
You love that.
Wonderful. And then, okay, if we move away from, like a popular character would be Frasier.
What's the actor's name?
Kelsey Grammer.
Thank you.
No, I've been thinking of Frasier this whole time because, the walls of this is the same as Frasier. It's Frasier's house. But really, I could mouth every single episode from season 1 to the end with you all throughout Frasier. So it might be David Hyde Pierce, Niles. Maybe, and he loves music. I mean, maybe that's actually a possibility. Maybe someone from Frasier. That's very exciting.
The third one?
Third one, I feel like it has to be should be someone intellectual, but maybe no fun.
Yeah, it's gotta be someone fun.
It's gotta be someone fun. Yeah, some kind of maybe like a poet or something, or like an Oscar winner, or something. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at this.
No, that's okay. You're doing great.
What would I serve? Just martinis.
Ah!